Welcome to our next digital conversation around key concepts out of our Management 102 class. The focus of this conversation is on how to develop effective informational presentations, either in writing or if you're going to do an oral report. In an earlier conversation, I talked about writing apprehension. It also can take place when you're getting ready to do an oral presentation. And the same causes can get in the way for both oral and for written. That you may, in the first grade, asked to stand up and present something and you couldn't get the words out of your mouth. That traumatized you for life. Therefore, you never wanted to do public speaking again. Well, let's see if we can help you get past that so that you're getting into a better skill set to be able to perform well. And again, here on campus, we have a number of support tools available to you, both in the English department and in the business school. So let's start taking a look at sort of a business approach towards putting together informational presentations. I put this together in a series of stages for you to think about. Stage one is to put together a plan that makes sense. You probably wanted a little simpler than the graphic that I put up. And you want to start off with a very, very clear goal. You want to promote an understanding of an idea or some facts that you're presenting. Randy Pausch in the picture is a really great story. He ended up writing a book called The Last Lecture. And he had a key point he wanted to get across and to share that information with an audience. And the premise was, as a professor, if this is the last lecture that you can give at the end of your career, what message would you want to send? So again, a very, very clear goal. We talked about doing an audience analysis, again, for your for your informational report. You're going to want to do an audience analysis for that, and you want to make this as comprehensive as you can. This is not the exact template. This is designed to give you a starting point. You can make this much, much richer, and you can put it in any format that you want. It can be bullet points, it can be a narrative. You just have to share with me who it is that you're writing to, so when I read your report, whether it's oral or your written report, I know that you're hitting the audience that you targeted. There's some common checklists for high-quality presentations when you're trying to inform somebody. Again, this isn't a sales pitch. This is information. I have this knowledge. I want to share it with you. You want to come across truthful, honest, and fair in your presentation. You don't want to overpromise or embellish or add extra drama. This isn't Housewives of Hollywood. You want to express ideas clearly, and you want to make them understandable. Again, you're teaching people, you're sharing information with them. You want to be objective in the views that you're offering. You want to use tact. Again, we don't want emotion-laden terms in an informational presentation. And you want to make very effective use of visual support in writing, clear charts, graphs, in your PowerPoint or oral presentations, very, very clear graphics. This is a fairly complex preparation slide for you. Again, these are all available on the website, so you don't have to write all of this down. But again, think in terms of different stages of your preparation. Step one, again, is focusing on your audience. Step two is paying attention to the focus of your presentation, your topic. Step three is to get a purpose clearly laid out for you. I want to accomplish this. And then step four, you start to go into your main ideas. Think back of the outlining that was taught to you in high school and use those skill sets. You want to expand that a bit to where in your outline you're going to say plug in graph XYZ here. So you have a map laid out. Step five is to write your introduction and your conclusion. So you have your beginning and end very, very clear. And then you want to be prepared to do multiple drafts in writing, and you want to practice, practice, practice if it's oral. So on the research side, You want to be able to do comprehensive research, and I feel strongly enough about this that I put together another very short, about a 5-minute conversation with you on some tips on how to do effective research. So you want to do this in a very, very credible way. So watch the video on research to give you extra tips. This is of help both to the Crimson and Blue track. The Crimson track, it'll help you present a better product both in your report that you're doing and in your oral presentation. For the Blue track, it's worth watching because that's what's going to be on the test when you get to the stage in the course where you're taking a test on research. Step 3, you want to organize what it is that you're doing. You want to work on flow so that the ideas are moving together in a way that's coherent and is understandable. You want to use any of these ways of organizing your information. There's no one right way. You can organize it based on topics. Again, budget, other types of things that are very, very key to what's going on. You can say this is also about sales, so you can organize it around sales activity. So you can, if you think of an organization, you can organize it by this is a marketing aspect, production aspect, sales aspect. You can organize it spatially, so this is part of the report talks about North America, this part of the report talks about Europe, this part talks about South America. You can organize your report chronologically, very clear beginning, middle, end. Or you can organize your report about if we do this, then this will happen, a cause and effect approach. So again, in this stage, think hard about how it is that you want the information to flow. You want to have your opening and closing thought through very, very carefully. You want to be able to get people's attention. That works for both informational and persuasive presentations. You can do that with humor. Again, you want some caution in the humor that you use. You don't want to do it in a way that you lose your authority on the subject matter. You want to demonstrate benefit to the listener or the reader on gathering this information from you. And then you want to close with a presentation that has real impact on them so that it sticks with them. Some tools that you can use. You can use definitions in presenting information, just laying out what's going on. You can use comparisons and contrasting. You can use descriptions. You can use similes or metaphors. Metaphors tend to be much stronger. Working in this organization is like having to go into a coal mine every day. That's a metaphor, very, very powerful. You can use an explanation. You can answer the how, why, and what of a situation in your presentation. Or you can use a narrative. Again, if you're using a story, you want to think about a good book that you read or a good article that you read. Very, very clear setup, very, very clear beginning. The middle, there's some drama, and at the end, there's a conclusion that captures people's attention. So use those tools to be effective. Stage 4 is delivering your product, either written or oral. Again, you want to do it in a way that in the body of your report or your presentation, you're getting people's attention. Again, you can use jokes or humor, but again, be very, very careful. Make sure that it's context appropriate. You want to motivate the reader to read what's going on, or in your oral presentation to listen to what you have to say. It's very important to establish your credibility. That as a student, we spend a lot of time talking about borrowed authority. That you're coming out of university, you're possibly in your 20s, and now you're making a presentation to people that have 30 years of business experience. Why should they pay attention to you? Why should they read what you wrote? It's your responsibility to establish your credibility. I went through university. In university, they taught me how to do very, very effective research. What I'm presenting to you is based on 50 valid resources. Now you have credibility. And in your delivery, you want to be very clear on the goal or purpose that you're trying to accomplish. Delivering, particularly in oral reports, we tend to have different ways that we can go about doing it. Memorizing is a tool very, very difficult to do. If you try to memorize and then all of a sudden you step in front of an audience and you have an OS moment, if you come to class, I'll tell you what OS stands for. I'm not going to do it on tape. And you freeze. Another way is extemporaneous. Some of you think you're very glib. I've noticed that people that try to do no preparation, no organization, stand up and count on their good looks and charisma tend to fall flat more often than they are successful. You want to use visual aids. I put together another short conversation with you on how to construct visual aids for an oral report. I'll refer back to that video. You can do a manuscript, but again, that's very, very hard. Few people are able to read effectively. You look at President Obama, he even uses a teleprompter, but you can watch his eyes. Oftentimes he deviates from the manuscript that's in front of him. When you deliver, you have to appear confident. In business, we respect people that are confident, not arrogant. So your posture, your presentation all matters. You want to set up your audience using background statements, which are very effective. And then use because to support your point of view. Again, it's all about the interests of your audience. This is valuable because it will help you become thinner, faster, whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. And then you want to put together, in stage 4, your conclusion. So you want to be very organized in wrapping up your presentation. Again, this is not time to wing it. You can summarize either in general, an overview, or you can be very precise in the message that you're trying to deliver. And then you want to sometimes close with some closing thoughts. It can be a story. It can be a story that's linked to the message. It can be a story about somebody that did something very appropriate in the organization to reinforce what's going on. So as we put before, we have a review of what you're trying to accomplish. Like in writing, what is it that you're trying to do? What's the nature of your message? The why. Why should the person bother reading or listening to you? Who? Am I delivering this to the right person? Am I using the channel that's appropriate? Channel meeting, is it in writing? I'm choosing an oral report over a written report for these reasons. When? Timing really matters. You want to deliver the message on time when it's very, very relevant, close to the time that a critical meeting is going to take place or close to a decision point in the organization. Where the message is coming from. As I mentioned in our other chat, sometimes you may not be the person to sign off as a primary author on a report or an internal memo, or you may not be the person that needs to deliver the speech or the presentation. Park your ego and think about who is going to have the most positive impact on your audience, and your job is to get the message across. Your message is to inform, not to be on stage. And then the how piece of it, again, be very, very strategic in whether this is oral or written. And then if it's written, do I do this in a letter, a memo, a report, an email? Do I do it in a phone call? Do I use a brochure? You get the idea. So when you're transmitting information, the goal is to get people to receive the information that you have to offer. The information should be something you're passionate about, something you believe in, and that'll come across in both your oral and written presentation. Hope this helps.